Hi everyone, it's Cassie here on a Friday, so it's book review day. I don't know if you can see the bookshelf up there. You can't at this angle. Talk a little bit farther. Now you can see it. Bookshelf that I said I'm reading off of is getting a bit smaller. That's because I read 2 books off of it this week. So the book I read this week, or one of the books I read this week, is Haven by Kristy Cook. This book came out in 2011. Yeah, this book came out in 2011, and I actually have a first hardcover edition. It's by Simon Plus. And anyone who actually pays attention to the books I'm reviewing, or at least the 10 books I'm reviewing, most of them will probably be by Simon Plus because they are my favorite publisher. I think they're probably one of the biggest YA publishers out there. When Borders was closing, I bought it on sale, and I thought this looked like a good paranormal book. I was into paranormal books back then. It was pretty cheap too, because, you know, last few days of Borders being open. I actually really enjoyed it. This was actually my second time reading this book. I read it once when I first bought it, and I've been reading other books. I decided to revisit this summer so I can try and decide what books I want to keep on the bookshelf, and this is definitely one of them I'm going to keep, because when I was reading it, I was on Goodreads, and I found out that it actually has 2 sequels. Haven is a story about a girl named Violet who moves to New York with her stepmom and goes to a boarding school. She wants to try and restart her life in New York because she was kind of known as the weirdo back home because she's a little bit psychic. And she wants to, you know, be normal at her new school. But turns out her new school is actually a school for children just like her. And so the first couple of days she's kind of freaking out because everyone seems to be a little weird. And she's like, no, I want to be normal. But it turns out she actually gets to be normal because everyone around her is like her, psychic as well. And on her first day of classes, she meets a boy named Adrian Gray, who is a big science geek. Yeah, I can say that. I mean, my K-Much thing happened to biology books. He doesn't really notice anybody at school. He kind of stays to himself. But when Violet walks in the room, he is just like, who is this girl? Like, he starts paying attention to her, which kind of throws the whole entire school off. I want to say something about that, but it's a big spoiler, and it's actually pretty cool, so I don't want to share that with you. So you have to check it out to figure out why he pays attention to her. But it turns out Adrian is a vampire, and his science work is trying to cure vampirism, which kind of gets him into a lot of trouble with some of the other vampires in the world. And since his girlfriend Violet, who stories about, can see the future, she can actually see these guys coming, and so she gets together with all of her friends, and they try and stop the bad guys from coming. I think this book's probably written for 15 to 20. It is very nicely written, has a lot of biology in it, so you won't really be able to kind of completely understand what Adrian's talking about most of the time until you've taken biology classes. I think that's about the age of 15, 14, depending on some schools. So it also was in high school, so you don't really want to read it younger than that because you won't really like see what's going on. But I'm assuming people watching my videos, most of my friends on Facebook and Tumblr who I know are all in high school or older. So yeah, you can, if you haven't read this book, read it. I believe I gave it 3.5 stars on Goodreads. It's a good book for its genre. I'm the kind of girl who reads classics like Memoirs of a Geisha and Snowflake and Cedar, so I wouldn't give this a 5 like them. It's not like, you know, classic literature, but it's still really good. Definitely a book that you could have and keep on your bookshelf for a while until you've kind of grown out of it. Yeah, I'm definitely glad I read this book this year though, because say if I read it like next summer when I was 21, I don't really think I'd be able to relate to it that much anymore, even though it is really sciencey. It's pretty basic science, like I said. It is very nicely written. It does have some very large words in it and a little bit of history in it too. Paranormal YA romance is your thing. Check this book out, and it's 2 sequels, which hopefully I will be checking out sometime in the next couple months. Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say about this book. It's pretty damn good. I mean, I read it twice, but I read a lot of my books twice. I mean, that's not really anything to say, because I don't like buying books if I'm not gonna read them more than once. So yeah, peace.